Did you know that you actually hold the power to create the change that you want to see in your life and to create the future that is what you want to be living? You may feel like this is all crazy mumbo jumbo, but the truth of the matter is you are the only one who is capable of changing your future and determining your destiny. But you don't just do this for yourself. This change can affect literally everyone around you, from your friends to your family to your neighbors. Setting goals and achieving them affects every person that you touch. Let's face it, in today's society, focusing on yourself and what you want in life is considered selfish and a waste of time and not what you actually should be doing. However, when you are achieving your goals, you're actually showing other people that it's possible and helping them to create the future that they want to see. Think about how inspirational that would be for your friends, for your family, for your children, for the people that you care about. Because it could just be that there are people around you who need to see you smash your goals in 2025 so that they can learn how to do it for themselves. Today, we're going to be talking about the process that I need each of you to go through in order to see this transformative change. Because it's not just about having this pipe dream of, I want to lose weight. We need to be really intentional about setting our goals so that we have a really clear vision on what we're trying to create. Today, we're going to go through a 7-step process to help you figure out what your goals should be, what things you're going to have to overcome in order to achieve those goals, and how to make sure that you're where you want to be a year from today. Now, if you've read anything or listened to any podcast or YouTube video about goal setting, you know that one of the things you have to do is you have to write it down. Another thing that I am going to encourage you to do is to make sure that you envision yourself finishing this goal. I want you to sit with yourself a year from now as you're looking back over your year and seeing all that you've accomplished, because it's really important to be able to see yourself as you would be if you hit that goal. And sometimes that can be a little bit scary because sometimes hitting that goal means that things are going to be different. So it's time to sit down with that. So you want to have some time to be able to process through that. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, or you can type on your computer if that's what you prefer, and let's go through the 7 steps of goal setting that will get you where you want to be at the end of 2025. First off, you need to decide what your goal is. What is it that you want to be able to achieve at the end of this year? Now, it needs to be really objective. So you need to make sure that it's measurable and that there's actions associated with it. So if your goal is to lose weight in 2025, you need to figure out how much weight you want to lose. And that way you have that measuring stick to see if you're on progress throughout the year. The second thing is you need to decide what problems need to be solved in order to help you hit that goal. So if you're trying to lose weight, there may be other people in your house who like to eat different foods that you're going to have to avoid. So it's time to sit down and have a conversation with them and ask them if they can support you in hitting this goal by not having that food in the house. You really want to look at the obstacles that might get in the way so you can start clearing them out beforehand instead of having to jump over them every day, which is way more difficult. So the third step is defining the what, where, when, and why of any problems that could come up. So again, if you're trying to lose weight, there could be different events throughout the year that you're like, ooh, this is going to be definitely a challenge. And you want to address those again beforehand because it's easier to plan ahead than it is to deal with obstacles as they come up. Now, step number 4 is I need you to write all of this down. So you need to write down your really objective goal, so your really specific goal, the thing that you want to be able to do, the weight you want to be able to lose, the person you want to be at the end of the year, as well as how you're going to measure that. Because if it's not measurable, it's hard to know if you're on track to meeting your goal. This is important because once you have decided what your goal is and what the obstacles are to achieving that goal, then you're planning ahead, which removes the decision to work towards this goal every day. So one of the critical things that is important, especially as we're trying to implement a new goal, that this is going to require some new standards, some new habits. And if we're trying to form new habits, it's much easier if we have just set it down. So if we go back to the goal of losing weight, part of that goal may not just be what you're going to eat, but also that you're going to exercise. You need to be able to put that in your calendar right now. I am going to exercise at this time every day, or it can be different from day to day. It depends on your schedule, but you need to be able to put it in your calendar so that you're not deciding each day if you want to exercise, you're just going out and doing it. I was actually just having a conversation with a patient yesterday who, because of life circumstances, kind of fell off the wagon of exercise. And she was saying, I used to exercise every day and I felt so much better. Why can't I get back to doing it? Because it's much harder when we have to get back on that bandwagon because we have to make the decision to do it. So this is what I told her to do. Just make sure you put it in your calendar that I am going to do this on this day at this time, and that way there's no question about it. If you take away the decision to do it, you're halfway there. Now, step number 5 is absolutely my favorite, and it sounds maybe a little bit crazy, but it's so important because it will help you want to meet your goal even more. And so step number 5 is I want you to plan the celebration. Now, it may be a big celebration at the end when you've hit the goal. If it's a particularly big goal, you might want to have mini celebrations along the way. Again, if you're trying to lose weight, it may be that as you've lost, this many pounds, you're going to celebrate by going to do this thing. Or if you want to run a marathon, let's say, you're going to celebrate when you hit this milestone and this milestone and this milestone. So many celebrations can be great along the way and can be super, super helpful. But I also want you to have that big celebration at the end. So in 2024, we were training for Dopey 2025, which actually happens in January. So obviously the celebration is to be able to run Dopey because it's amazing and it's in Disney World and it is so much fun. However, we had to have little micro celebrations along the way to keep us motivated because the truth of the matter is the training for Dopey is actually harder than the running of the Dopey. So we had to have little micro celebrations along the way. And so the Dopey is 4 days of running in a row. There's a 5K on Thursday, a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a marathon on Sunday. So when you do a simulation week, you're running 4 days in a row and you're increasing your distance each day. And simulation weeks are really challenging. So for those weeks, we made sure that at the end of that, when we finished that simulation, we got a little reward. Now, when you're running that many miles, your reward can definitely be a sweet treat, which is what we chose because, of course, that's amazing. When I finished the final simulation, where I actually ran a Dopey a couple weeks before the real event, and right before we started tapering down, at the end of that, I got to have ice cream with fresh, hot chocolate chip cookies on it. Now, this is not something I usually have, but it was a very motivational thing to work towards, and I could think about when those running miles got really long. Now, this is why I want you to have that celebration already planned, because when the going gets tough of working towards that goal, sometimes that celebration is all you have to hang on to. Because yes, you do want that thing. And yes, you do want to achieve that goal. But man, when it's a year out, it can seem really, really hard. So not only do I encourage the big celebration at the end of the goal, but I encourage little celebrations along the way. And they can be really small things, but it could be things that are really, really important to you. And they should be things important to you because that's why you're trying to achieve this goal in the first place. You ready for step number 6? This is really challenging because a lot of people don't want to tell anybody else about their goal. There can be a variety of reasons why you don't want to tell those around you about your goal. I will say for me personally, often it's because I'm afraid I might not achieve that goal and I don't want everybody to know if I don't achieve it. Telling everybody about it means you are more likely to achieve your goal. So it's really important to make sure that you have at least a couple people around you who are checking in with you regularly, who are cheering for you, who are helping to give you encouragement when you don't feel like working towards your goal anymore. And I call that your accountability team. So I would ask 2 to 3 close friends, people who aren't going to judge you, but who are going to help lift you up, who are going to hold you accountable to make sure that you are on your path to hit your goal. I actually created a worldwide accountability team because I told everybody about it on YouTube, made a ton of videos about it as I was talking about my training, which means I have to do my training in order to be able to talk about my training. And most importantly for me, I had my husband who was also running the Dopey. So on those days when I didn't want to get to bed and I didn't want to get the sleep I needed because I didn't want to run the next morning, he would poke me and say, nope, you need to get your sleep because you've got a long run tomorrow. So find your people who are going to help hold you accountable, which may be a different group of people than step number 7. And step number 7 is to share your progress with people who care. So you have your accountability team, and those are the people who are going to hold you to that goal. And also, it's a good idea to share your progress with people who care about you, because when they see your progress, it's super motivational for them. Plus, it may open some doors for things that they want to achieve. It's always nice to have a cheering section who's got your back and who can congratulate you as you're doing this big thing this year. Now, your cheering section may not be the ones who can really hold you accountable. There's different people in your life. There are those who are really good at holding you accountable, and there are those who are really good at being cheerleaders. And that can be different groups of people. So make sure that you do have that accountability group, and make sure that you have those cheerleaders too. And as you share your progress with them, they'll be able to celebrate with you. In fact, maybe they're in on the final celebration at the end of the year. So there it is, how to set a goal and make sure that you achieve it at the end of the year. Remember that it's important to decide what your goal is, decide what the problems are that are going to need to be solved to help you achieve this goal. Define the what, when, where, and why of the problem. Number 4, make sure you write it all down. Number 5, please don't skip number 5. Plan your celebration at the end of the goal. Number 6, have your accountability team that's going to help hold you accountable to the goal that you set. And number 7, share your progress with people who care. So make sure that you have your cheerleaders along the way who are going to help you. Now, I would love to hear what your goals are for 2025. I would love for you to drop a comment down below and let us know where you see yourself 1 year from today.